Hey everyone, it's Professor Clark, and in this lecture we're going to go over time off the hour. Now, this is one of those things that intermediate level students tend to struggle with a lot. It's not actually that difficult in the grand scheme of things, but it's different from how we do it in English, and it involves putting both ordinal and cardinal numbers in the genitive. So students tend to react to it initially by going, no, this can't be happening. This can't be happening to me. La, la, la. I'm not going to pay attention. Well, this is how they do it. So you have to accept this and understand that there are human beings, millions and millions of human beings, who use this crazy, crazy system to tell time. So just, try to suspend your reaction of outrage and horror and accept that this really is happening to you, and it will go much more smoothly. Let's start with time on the half hour. This is the easiest part of this. And so to say half past a certain hour in Russian, which they say a lot, much more than in English we say half past at this point. In Russian, people still say half past quite a lot. To say half past in Russian, we say half of, and then the ordinal number of the next hour in the genitive. So in Russian time telling, you're pretty much always counting towards the next hour. In English time telling, we're counting backwards to the previous hour, but in Russian time telling, you're counting forwards to the next hour. And so you say, for example, half of the third to say 2:30, or half of the fourth to say 3:30. We can use either the full word for half, polovina, which just means half, or the shortened form pol, which is very common because it's much shorter. So some examples would be сейчас половина второго, or полвторого. Both of those mean half past one. Сейчас половина четвертого, or полчетвертого. Both of those mean half past three. Or сейчас половина девятого, or полдевятого, which is half past 8. And then, if we want to say at half past a certain time, we use the preposition v plus the prepositional case of the word polovina. If you're using the contracted form pol, it doesn't change, and you continue to write it as one word with the following number. And the number itself remains in the genitive. It's still the ordinal form of the number in the genitive, regardless of what you do. So, for instance, в половине третьего, or в полтретьего, that's half past 2. В половине пятого, or в полпятого, that's half past 4. On the next slide of the PowerPoint, on slide 3, I have a quick chart here of time on the half hour, and I've divided it into вопрос, the question, and ответ, the answer. So if our question is «Сколько сейчас времени?» or «Который час?», meaning «What time is it?», your answer would be something like «Сейчас половина седьмого», or полседьмого, вечера, for instance. So that's half past 6 or 6:30 p.m. And notice that if you're indicating the time of day, if you want to say a.m. or p.m. or half past 6 in the evening, for example, which is what this is, you use the same forms of утра, дня, вечера, and ночи that you would for any kind of clock time. Or we could say, to answer the question «Сколько сейчас времени?», «Сейчас половина восьмого», or полвосьмого утра, and that's 7:30 in the morning or half past 7 in the morning. If our question is «Когда?», when, or «Во сколько?», or «В котором часу?», at what time, then we need to add «в» to the answer, and we say «В половине седьмого», or «В полседьмого вечера», at 6:30 p.m. or at half past 6 in the evening. Or «В половине восьмого», or «В полвосьмого утра», at half past 7 in the morning. Now here is where things start to get tricky. Let's talk about time in the first half of the hour. So this is minutes 1 through 29 in the hour. And to express that, these first 29 minutes of the hour, they are expressed as the number of minutes plus the genitive of the ordinal form of the next hour. For example, because I don't think that was very clear at all, we could say Сейчас 5 минут девятого. Literally, right now it is 5 minutes of the 9th. And that is 8:05, or 8:05. Сейчас 10 минут одиннадцатого. Literally, right now it is 10 minutes of the 11th. And that is 10:10, or 10:10. Or сейчас 15 минут, or четверть первого. Now it is 12:15, or 15 minutes past 12, or 12:15. And note that you can have either 15 minut, 15 minutes, or четверть, 1/4. Either way, the construction is the same. If we want to answer the question когда or во сколько, we can use the preposition в, but we don't have to, and the rest of the construction doesn't change. So we could say в 5 минут девятого, at 8:05, but we don't have to. We could just say 5 минут девятого, and it would mean the same thing. Or we could say в 10 минут одиннадцатого, at 10:10, or в 15 минут, or в четверть первого, at 12:15. But you don't have to use the v. It is optional. So if it's too confusing, you can leave it out, but be aware that many native speakers will use it. And then when we move into the second half of the hour, things get even more complicated. So to express minutes 31 through 59 of the hour, we use the construction without plus the number of minutes until the next hour in the genitive plus the cardinal form of the next hour in the nominative. And I'm sure that was clear as mud, so let's look at some examples. We could say, без 25:06, and that is 25 to 6, or 5:35. Без 27, and that is 20 to 7, or 6:40. Без 15, or четверти 8, and that is 7:45, or 7:45. Без 10:09, and that is 10 to 9, or 8:50. Без 5:10, and that is 5 to 10, or 9:55. And then let's look at what we do with the last 4 minutes of the hour. Без 4 минут 11, that is 4 minutes to 11, or 10:56. Без 3 минут 12, that is 3 minutes to 12, or 11:57. Без 2 минут час, that's 2 minutes to 1, or 12:58. Без 1 минуты 2, that's 1 minute to 2, or 1:59. Those last 4 minutes are not used very often in this construction, but they are used. You do occasionally come across them. So be prepared. Frequently, time telling is pretty relaxed in Russian culture compared with American culture, but sometimes you want to be very precise, so you will need to say, for example, без 4 минут 11. The good news is that the construction is the same whether you're answering the question сколько времени or во сколько. So you do have to learn the numbers in the genitive, but it doesn't matter whether you're saying what time it is or at what time. On the last slide of the PowerPoint, on slide 6, I have a chart showing how to talk about time off the hour. And I've divided it into time in the first half hour and time in the second half hour, and then the questions сколько времени, or который час, and their answers, or во сколько в котором часу, and their answers. And so if you look at time in the first half of the hour, and you're answering the question сколько времени, you could say сейчас 2 минуты третьего. It's currently 2:02. Сейчас 5 минут четвертого. It's currently 3:05. Сейчас четверть пятого. It's currently 4:15. If you wanted to answer the question во сколько with those same times, you could say в 2 минуты третьего, at 2:02. Although again, remember the v is optional. В 5 минут четвертого, at 3:05. В четверть пятого, at 4:15. And then when we go over to time in the second half hour, we're going to use this other construction, And we could say in response to the question «Сколько времени?», for example, «Сейчас без 2:03». It's currently 2 minutes to 3. It's currently 2:58. «Сейчас без 5:04». It's currently 5 to 4. «Сейчас без 4:05». It's currently 4:45. If we wanted to answer the question «Во сколько?», we would say exactly the same thing, although we wouldn't use сейчас because we're saying at a certain time, not right now it is a certain time. So if someone asked «Во сколько?» and you wanted to say at 2:58, you could say «Без 2:03». Or 5 to 4 would be «Без 5:04». Or 4:45 would be «Без 4:05». So that is telling time off the hour. I know it's a lot to go over. I recommend going over the charts in the chapter and then the numbers in the back of the book and memorizing the genitive forms of both the cardinal and the ordinal numbers in 1 through 12. And actually you need to do 1 through 29 as well, don't you? So memorize for the cardinal numbers 1 through 29 in the genitive, and then the ordinal numbers 1 through 12 in the genitive. I know that seems like a lot of memorization, but remember, write it out by hand, say it to yourself out loud, and work on it a little bit at a time, and you will get there.